This is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1, and welcome to the Wednesday Mobile-thon, or Drive-a-thon, whatever you want to call it. It's a thon. Now, Phil McConnell is still residing in his son's house, as far as I know. He has not violated the terms of his agreement, as far as I know. What is not known is what is going to happen in May, whether or not Phil McConnell is going to go to the court or not. He may get to sit home and his lawyer can do all the work, because the court may be closed to the general public. So I guess we'll find that out when we get there. Now, a little bit of somewhat breaking news that happened overnight is that Cynthia Abzug got herself arrested again. Apparently, she tried to go back to Denver from Montana. Her lawyer said, turn around, go back the other way, and get back where you were. And so she turned around, but she got pulled over. There was a little bit of conversation. The cop said, well, we don't have enough to arrest you, so we're going to let you go. And so she was on her way again. She got about another half hour up the road, and she, for whatever reason, was sitting on the side of the road, probably taking a smoke break or something. I don't know. But anyway, she's on the side of the road. And the cops come up and said, okay, we got enough to arrest you now. And they arrested her. And so she's sitting in a county jail somewhere in the state of Wyoming, waiting to see how they're going to sort this one out. Because here's a woman that was fighting extradition in one state to go back to another state, and now she's gotten arrested in another state. This woman's legal troubles just keep getting worse. Now, apparently somebody told her that it might take 6 months to get her legal problems out of the way. So she decided, no, the hell with it. I'll go back to my home county and I'll just wait everything out there. Well, she forgot to tell people that's what she wanted to do. And off she went. And the problem is you just can't do that. I mean, you got to go through the process. She should have called her lawyer up and said, hey, lawyer, I want to drop my fight to be extradited and get sent back home. That's what she should have done. She shouldn't have fought extradition in the first place. She just said, okay, let them extradite me, send me back. You know, it's not as far to go as it would have been with Phil McConnell. She could have been there the same day or something, you know. But no, she had to go through this thing where she's going to do things on her own, and she got her ass arrested. You know, these people, I don't know if somebody gave her bad advice or she decided this on her own. But the fact of the matter is she made yet another bad decision, and she's made it that much worse for herself. You know, there is no telling now, you know, how much trouble she's going to be in from this stunt. You know, they may just say, okay, don't fight the extradition, I'll go back to Montana and we'll sort this out there, or something. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, she could tell the judge, look, I just want to go back to Colorado, and maybe they could work it out. But I don't know. She's just managed to get herself in a mess. Whoever posted the bond has to be real happy about this. You know, because she jumped bail. So there's that complication. So we'll have to see how that works out. Personally, if I were the guy that posted the bond, I'd be a little annoyed right now. But he seems to be willing to give her some slack. Because apparently it was the man from Northwest Liberty News who bailed her out. But since they caught her, he might be safe, although there's going to be some costs involved. But we'll see how that one works out. She may wind up getting yet another bond. They may increase the bond. There's all kinds of things they can do to make this situation worse. Because it's clear she's not going to stay put. So, we shall see what we shall see. And on another note, Timothy Charles Homseth is about the most predictable person I have ever met in my life. Now, if you remember just yesterday, I told you that if Tim Homseth gets backed into a corner, I am the first one he goes after. And sure enough, he did it again. Now, he seems to think that accusing me and Craig Sawyer of being associated in some way is going to get a pissing match going between me and Craig Sawyer. And I really don't know. Because I've never talked to Craig Sawyer. I've never contacted Craig Sawyer. I don't know that much about Craig Sawyer. And I don't care. And I doubt Craig Sawyer knows who the hell I am. Except maybe some dude that has a YouTube channel he's heard about. I don't remember ever receiving any kind of comment from Craig Sawyer about me in any way, shape, or form. If I have, I never heard of it. So Timothy Homseth just decided out of the blue to associate me with Craig Sawyer. And in the process, he's just creating more evidence for Craig Sawyer to use in the lawsuit. Because it apparently has not come clear to Tim Homseth yet that he's one of the defendants in the lawsuit. Someday he's going to get it through his thick head that he's being sued, along with his butt buddy, Daniel Lee, and his handler, and the woman he was photographed with, and one or two others that all seem to know Timothy Homseth, including Field McConnell. So this has created an additional problem for Field McConnell, because Field McConnell still has a $500,000 car collection as an asset and stuff that, once the creditors get through with Field McConnell, as far as the house and everything else, Greg Sawyer and the other three plaintiffs in this case can now put liens on those properties because they're subject to a lawsuit. And what you do is, when you are going to sue somebody, you go to court and you file a lien so that they can't dispose of the property before the lawsuit. So there's probably going to wind up being a whole bunch of liens being filed against all the assets of these people to prevent them from liquidating them. Because this is, they have a potential of getting tens of thousands of dollars in judgments from these people, minimum of $25,000. And so they're going to move to protect those assets which they would draw upon in any judgment. So if the plaintiffs were wise and moved forward, they would put the defendants in a twilight zone of sorts by freezing all their assets with a lien. And you get what they call a blanket lien, which means you're going to put a lien on every single solitary thing they own. Right down to the toothpick in the bathroom. Everything goes into a lien. And the defendants are going to have to supply to the court a detailed audit of everything they own. And under most jurisdictions, I don't know about the state of Ohio, this stuff would be public information. So we'd begin to find out a lot about these people. Now, as of yet, the lawsuit hasn't got that far. But it's likely to get there. As going over how the lawsuit proceeded against me that Tim Homseth filed, and it's going to work in reverse. They are going to do the same thing Tim Homseth did to me to Tim Homseth. And the accusations are exactly the same that Tim Homestead filed against me. So, as long as the lawyer for the plaintiffs do a better job for the plaintiffs than they did for Tim Homestead, they should prevail in the lawsuit. So, that's going to be something to look forward to. So, as the clock keeps ticking and the day gets closer to when Tim Homestead and company get sued, we wait. But in the meantime, Tim Homestead goes on with these idiotic antics of his, which I really don't care. I think it's stupid. You know, he's regurgitating the same thing over and over again, but this time he's put Greg Sawyer's name on the list. And so I'm pretty sure that someone for Greg Sawyer, some supporter out there, is watching Tim Homestead antics and are reporting back to Greg Sawyer and the other plaintiffs in the lawsuit what Tim Homestead is up to. Now, I did notice that as far as the handler is concerned, she has not been sharing these posts. And she really hasn't been talking about the situation at all. There has been nothing out of Randy Erickson regarding the fact that she is a defendant in this civil lawsuit. She is just going along with her nonsensical conspiracy theories. And for some strange reason, Ellen DeGeneres is now a target of these people. Probably because she's another Hillary supporter. And this is basically a political thing, as I have stated before. I don't care what side you are on the political spectrum, but all these wild theories out of Tim Homestead's mouth and nose of this convoluted group of morons is politically motivated. And what's strange about Tim Homestead is the only one immune from the conspiracy theories of a negative manner is Donald J. Trump and his wife, and perhaps his kids, and so forth. But anyone outside the Trump dynasty is part of the deep state, and that includes the Vice President of the United States. This is how weird this is. That Trump's trusted second in command isn't even immune from this weird plot. Instead, they want a liberal Democrat who somehow got resurrected to be the next Vice President of the United States. This JFK Jr. guy is supposed to be the next Vice President of the United States, although the talk seems to have subdued a bit because they've got this virus that they can do all kinds of conspiracy theories with. You know, we have this pandemic that is a real serious matter, and Tim Homestead, David Lee, and all these other minions of his are making a joke out of it. And they've got people put up these crazy maps of airplanes going to Gitmo without doing any research at all to understand that Gitmo is an active military base. It's not just a holding cell for terrorists. It's a functioning military base. It's been there before 9/11, and as long as the treaty is in effect that created Gitmo, it's going to be there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Cuban government would love to see Gitmo go away, but they can't do much about it right now. And so Gitmo is there, and it acts as the Area 51 for the conspiracy nuts. And Tim Holmseth just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper into Weirdville. And proving to the world he is absolutely out of his mind, if he ever had a mind to begin with. And what Timothy still fails to understand is that if he continues on with this misinformation, he's going to probably get his adoptive parents killed. They're going to die. Because people around his parents are going to disregard the rules and follow these rumors, and they are going to spread this disease around, and his parents are going to catch it. Now, unlike the flu, this is a very highly contagious virus. It hangs around for 2 weeks. It floats around in the air like little kites. These are microbes. They have no weight, so they're going to float. And then when you inhale, you're like this great big vacuum cleaner, and you're going to just suck up the virus right into you. So all Timmy's parents have to do is be somewhere where someone has been for the past 2 weeks, breathe in the air, and they're going to get the virus. It's that simple. And his parents are in the high-risk group. And so his parents just might get this disease. Because somewhere, someone paid attention to conspiracy nuts rather than to mainstream medical personnel and defied the orders that have been given out, and they spread the virus. Now, I've had people comment on my YouTube that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, so what makes me any better at spreading this information than the conspiracy nuts? And my answer is that I look at the experts, the medical professionals that specialize in this stuff. People that are experts in infectious diseases, viruses, pandemics, and what have you. And they know a hell of a lot more about what's going on than Timothy Charles Holmseth, Q, and all these conspiracy nuts. And again, if you don't like my channel and what I have to say here, then, don't let the virtual door hit you on the way out. Because if you want to listen to Timothy Holmseth and people like him, be my guest. Just go for it. Just be sure you get your last will and testament in order and all your affairs in order and say your goodbyes. Because the chances are pretty damn good that you're going to die if you're going down that road, so you might as well prepare for it. Because it's getting worse, quite literally, by the minute. They got a thing on television now, whereas every time there's a death reported or every time there's a new case, it goes up. It's kind of like watching the stock market. And people saying, well, more people die of heart disease, which is the number one killer right now. And more people die of this, and more people die of that. You go and drive a car, you're going to die. You smoke a lot of cigarettes, you're going to die. If you got this illness or that illness, you're going to die. A lot more people are going to die than get this virus. And there's a word that can be put in there in just about all these categories, but primarily in this one, and that is preventable. You can prevent getting the coronavirus, or at least minimize your chances of getting the coronavirus. That's what this is all about. You know, instead of arguing that, oh, the economy might suffer because they're trying to keep people from dying, it's kind of a foolish argument. And to say, all right, we're going to sacrifice a few people just so I can buy some DVDs at Best Buy, or buy a new smartphone, or whatever people do with the money they make at these jobs. You know, there's people that need food on the table, toilet paper, you know, that sort of thing. It's understandable. You got to pay your rent and all that. But hopefully the government can come along and help you a little bit, and maybe you have some understanding landlords that say, hey, we understand what you're going through. Let's see if we can cut you some slack. You know, there probably aren't. I just got word this very day that the rent where I live is going up $22 a month. Right in the middle of a pandemic, my landlord decides to raise the rent. Thanks a lot. But, you know, it is what it is. I'll just have to adjust the budget somehow to accommodate this extra $22 a month that I have to pay. But I'm on Social Security, so I don't have as much to worry about. You know, people keep panic buying. I might have something to worry about. You know, as supplies run low of this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, it's one day at a time. It's all I can do. But it's preventing people from dying. This is what people need to understand. Is it just because there's only 100 people a day dying in the United States versus maybe 1,000 a day from auto accidents or heart disease or some other thing? It's a life. You know, how much is one life worth? Are there people out there that say, well, if I can keep my job where I'm making $500 or $600 a week, then yeah, my grandfather can die, my grandmother can die, you know, because it'll keep me working. I'll be able to keep this job. Or if the old lady at the cashier's counter of Walmart keeps working, so the economy keeps going, and she dies a couple weeks later, yeah, that's too bad, but at least we kept the economy going. This is what some people are saying on the media right now, on Fox Channel, no less. You know, we got a governor or lieutenant governor out there saying, yeah, if you go back to work and you died, that's all right. At least you sacrificed yourself for your country. You know, some guy can make his yacht payment or something. I don't know. You know, that's weird logic we have in this country, that people are more interested in the almighty dollar than they are in someone that they have known for 70 years might die. But at least you'll have your job. Yeah, good Lord. You know, that's where this country has come to. People are more interested in stuff than they are in the lives of their loved ones. I mean, maybe they care about their wife or their husband or their son or their daughter or their niece, nephew, granddaughter, grandson, what have you. But the grandparents, nah, they've been around long enough. Just make sure that they have their wills up so you get their inheritance when they die. That's where we seem to be going in this country. I think it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. You know, the material things are more valuable than the person that's been around you and that you're supposed to have loved all these years. And that you support people that are willing to do things that might get your relatives killed. Now, this is another mistake people are making about this disease, this virus. The coronavirus is proving more often now that it's not only us old buzzards that are subject to this disease. People of all ages are getting it. There's children that are getting it. Teenagers are getting it. Millennials are getting it. Everybody is getting it. Nobody's immune. And as the numbers go up and people in all age brackets start getting this thing, it's going to dawn on them. Now, there's a piece of work out there, and I'm serious about this. This is no hoax. I checked this out 9 Ways to Sunday. There's this guy that was running around licking toilets because he was going to prove that the coronavirus is a hoax. Well, guess what? He's in the hospital on a ventilator because he decided to be a smartass and lick toilets to prove that there's no virus. And he got the virus. And that's apparently what it's going to take for this nonsense to stop, is for people to start getting the virus. That don't believe it. That they are going to start getting sick, and then they're going to hit this, oh shit, this thing is real. And here we are. This is pretty bad when you're getting tailgated by the Border Patrol, because the speed limit's 35, Junior. You might want to get some distance between me and you. Yeah, this is weird. I'm on the airport property and the speed limit drops to 35 miles an hour. And I got what I think is either Homeland Security or the Border Patrol tailgating me. We're supposed to practice the 2-second rule here. But this guy is less than a car length off my tail. Yeah, well, if he rear ends me, I'll sue the government. They have their operations center is right where I go to catch the flight. Yeah, it's the Department of Homeland Security. My buddies. Yeah, well, give them something to do. But, getting back to the subject at hand, all you people out there that criticize me for talking about the coronavirus and saying that Q's on the money and I'm no better at the information than Q is, you might be right. But I'm going by science, experts, people that know what the hell they're doing, or at least you think they know what the hell they're doing. So if you want to believe Q and all these dumb theories that are coming out about the coronavirus, be my guest. I don't care. Because I'm either going to get this thing or I'm not. Because, if they tell me I got to stay home and get cabin fever for 2 months, I'll stay home and I'll get cabin fever for 2 months. I'll go into lockdown. I'll follow the rules. But if I get it because some moron decided, the Border Patrol, that's who it was. If some moron decides to go out there and continue to break the rules, and I get it because of that moron, it's going to be hard to prove. And I might die. And if I die, it'd make a whole bunch of people happy. I'm sure Tim Homestead would be happier than the clam if I were to drop over and take a dirt nap tomorrow. Because he doesn't care. Tim Holmseth only cares about himself. And I really doubt that Tim Holmseth would care if his grandparents died. Or his parents, died. He'd blame it on Hillary Clinton. Or the deep state. Or he'd say someone was out to give him a warning that they were going to kill him. And they decide to take out his parents first. Or maybe his sister will get it and die. Because again, this is not a age-specific disorder. Everybody has the potential of getting these things and dying. Because it's, Tim Holmseth could get it. His handler can get it. Anybody can get this thing. There's nobody exempt. There's no such thing as a safe group. Everybody can get this thing. So don't be under the illusion that you're going to escape this disorder and decide to violate the rules that's in your particular location. If you're on lockdown, you should follow the rules. At the very least, you should be practicing social distancing, heck with that one, and the hygiene recommendations they give you to wash your hands, be careful what you touch, wear gloves at the gas pumps, that sort of thing. All that. It's kind of interesting because gasoline will kill the virus. But, gasoline doesn't necessarily get on the pump, so you're probably advised to wear something. And those cities that don't have the restrictions, you can take all those Walmart bags that you get when you go grocery shopping and use one to cover your hands with. Or go out and get a pair of work gloves. The rubber work gloves. Don't get the cloth work gloves because the virus will survive in cloth, because the cloth isn't dense enough to breathe through. So, be careful what you make your surgical masks out of, because that's another thing I'm going to touch on here. People running around making face masks out of certain things, bras, all kinds of weird stuff. The coronavirus is a microbe. It's very small. And whether you realize it or not, the fabric density of fabrics might not be small enough to keep the virus from getting through the mask and into your nose. So you got to make sure that whatever you use to make the mask out of is dense enough to prevent the microbe from getting through, and yet you're still able to breathe. You're not going to suffocate by wearing one of these masks. So, just a word of advice. Make sure the mask is big enough. But, in conclusion, you take the advice of the experts. Don't take the advice of Tim Holmseth or the other conspiracy nuts. Listen to the damn experts. And maybe, just maybe, you'll live to see the end of this crisis. At any rate, I hope everybody manages to bite the bullet and not get this virus. Stay safe, stay alert, and until later, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.